The following podcast is brought to you by the Ebb Tide Treatment Center. Many people wrestle with addiction. You don't have to. Reach out to the Ebb Tide Treatment Center, where they wish to empower each individual encountered with the support, hope, and tools required for long-term sobriety, priding themselves on providing the best possible treatment experience for you and your loved ones based on unique needs. They're committed to breaking the stigma that plagues those suffering with addiction and their families by educating and bringing awareness to the community. The Ebb Tide Treatment Center provides individual and group therapy, multiple recovery pathways for support, evidence-based clinical support, integrated aftercare social reintegration, personalized treatment planning, program addressing whole life health, and Vivitrol program, all available. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, reach out to them at ebbtidetc.com or call 844-430-4357. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. We have a very fun guest for you, but before we get to the show itself, a shout-out, of course, to our sponsors. As always, we want to thank Smart Mark Video for helping us make this possible and for doing the video work on every single one of our AIW shows. Head to smartmarkvideo.com, download our shows, buy DVDs, support the folks that support us. Also, we want to thank Angelo's Pizza for always providing us pizza at live events and always feeding us here as we record the podcast. Check out Angelo's Pizza on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. It's award-winning pizza, not to mention all their other great pasta dishes and wings, pretty much anything you can imagine.
Biggins is eating taco pizza right now.
Taco pizza? I didn't know what this was.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that.
Even got them on the fried mushrooms.
Yeah, fried mushrooms for Buddy.
That's right. And, of course, we want to thank Jack Prince, who takes care of all of our graphic design, banners, signage, really any sort of logo and printing needs.
I got a promo code.
You do?
I do.
Let him have it, John.
Absolute CLE1. And you'll save up to $75 off of your order.
Wow, how about that? So there it is. Once again, Absolute CLE1. You can save $75 off of your order from Jack Prince. Make sure you check out everything they offer at jackprince.com.
That's JAKPrince.com.
Shout out to our new representative, Nadia. She's hooking us up with new promo codes all the time.
Hooking up everybody with those promo codes. It's almost like the shit's free.
Almost.
Almost.
And they will be making our booth look fresh at WrestleCon coming up in March.
And if you want anything brought down to WrestleCon that can cross state lines, that is, let me know, and I'll bring it down and we'll sell it to you.
Sounds like you were implying some illicit substances were involved.
I know, DVDs, posters, programs.
Well, Jack Prince isn't completely for free, but they, along with our other two sponsors, Smart Mark Video and Angelo's Pizza, help us bring this show to you for free. My name's Steve Guy, always the moderator here on The Card is Going to Change. Of course, joined by the voices you've already heard, owners number 1 and number 2 of AIW, John Thorne and Chandler Biggins. On this week's episode, though, we have a very special guest. He is one half of the AIW Tag Team Champions. We welcome Gringo Loko to the show.
He's back from the dead.
He is back from the dead. We're not even going to waste any time. We're just going to get into this. You finally have come back after months off. Tell us about.
Tell us what happened, because there's a lot of rumor and innuendo.
What happened when?
About what happened to you a couple months ago. You were in jail. You had this crazy 24 hours. Let's just get into what happened, what led to the time off.
And how many lives do you have left? I want to know that answer.
I think hopefully I have maybe about 7. I just want to say I'm just happy to physically still be here, guys, and thank you for having me on the podcast.
Oh, no problem. This is before all this happened. You were somebody that we wanted to get on, which we'll eventually get to later in the episode your history of wrestling in Mexico and things like that. But I mean, this situation, this is your first night back in AIW. We're taping this here, in the locker room,
and this is your first on the air because you were actually like the studio audience for our DJZ episode.
I was in the house for DJZ's appearance.
But I mean, I feel like, what happened to you is such an insane, crazy story. It's just one of those things that I feel like only happens in wrestling. So let's just get into it. What happened and what caused you to have to take all this time off?
It was a wild 48 hours, let me tell you. I had to drive to Cleveland on my own, which is, not something that I do every day, okay? And when I tell you at the end of this show that all four walls were closing in on me, I didn't know what to do. This was before I got arrested, okay? I had a problem getting into the hotel. No big deal. They were giving me...
Which you have a habit of in Cleveland.
They just do not like me
There was one time where you and Shima called at 3 a.m. and I had to call Norway to try to get you a hotel in America.
Well, that's because we book through these weird fucking websites.
Hey, any way to get a bargain.
Hey, man, any way to save a buck in this business.
Absolutely. And I agree with what you guys do, but... where do we start? Do we start at the after party?
Yeah, let's get into the after party. I mean, I think that's what really leads to. I mean, I can't really describe it any other way to like the downward spiral that your life became.
There's no other way to describe it. I mean, so we're having an amazing time, maybe having a little too much alcohol, which is the norm.
C-Pain says it's so much cheaper in Ohio than California.
Oh, yeah, we saw how he ended up. Anyway, so I call it a night, thinking it's going to be a fine night. Get up, go to Chicago, got a show that I have to get to by 5:30, and I walk out and proceed to pee on the street right outside of my car.
Now, meanwhile, you pass 3 bathrooms to get to your car.
3.
You passed 3 bathrooms.
3
There's one
bathrooms.
upstairs and a couple downstairs, I believe, right?
And one right by the front door.
Right by the front door.
So I see the cop coming up behind me. I'm like, well, this is going to suck because I'm clearly not going to get out of this, right? Mind you, I'm parked completely illegally as well. So I'm in a tow zone, and I know that's going to be an issue too. So he comes up, he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing, man. What's up? I'm just hammered, okay? I'm like, this is going to be a DUI in Cleveland. This is not going to end well. I said, hey, man, listen, bro, listen. I have already ordered the Uber, so I'm going to close my door, and we're going to call it a night, right, officer? He's like, yeah, right after I write you this ticket. I'm like, oh, okay, great. It's not for DUI, is it? He says, no, it's not going to be for DUI, but it is going to be for disorderly conduct or whatever it is, indecent exposure, something like that, something minor. I said, it's not going to be a big fine, is it? He's like, no, you'll be fine, no big deal. We'll get back to that later, and I'll tell you how much it was. So I get a little belligerent with the guy.
You do have a history when you're a little intoxicated, mouthing off a little bit. Going back to that Norway hotel situation.
Yeah, the woman in Norway goes, please tell your friend to calm down.
So right about the time you're getting a little belligerent and angry with the officers of the law, that's when I come out.
You did come out, yes.
I try to sweet talk him with my legal connections.
Well, can we tell everybody who alerted us to this fact? The biggest cop himself, Super Cop Dick Justice, goes, oh my God, Gringo Loko's getting arrested.
I mean, that's because he saw the boys in blue out there.
With the lights, with the belligerent
he thought they needed help.
Yeah, the backup.
So I go out there, they're not having what I'm trying to sell them, and I see Gringo Loko get put in the back of the car, and off he goes.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't accept your offer to get me out with whatever connections you had downtown, that's where my anger went up a little bit.
Those connections get me out of trouble all the time.
So anyway, I'm in the back of this car. I'm getting madder and madder. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen because I don't have my keys. My keys are in my car. I don't have
You didn't have your phone.
Well, I didn't have my phone, so it's like, what am I going to do? I don't have a charger. I don't know what. And I'm parked illegally, so who knows if I'm going to have a car on the.
And all your belongings are in the car.
Yeah, so it's like I'm in a pretty bad situation. I have nobody's phone number at all. So here come the walls closing in. What do? I start freaking out. I'm like, officer, man, hey, listen, man, you got to lend me your phone, bro, before I go into the cell. You have to. Otherwise, I don't know. Am I going to rot in here? Am I going to die in here? What am I going to do? So he's like, all right, man, hurry up before my supervisor sees me. Take the phone, do whatever you need to do. So I face message John Thorne. I mean, who else am I going to call? I'm like, Thorne, you got to get me out of here, man. I'm in jail. What am I going to do? And no answer. I see the little check mark that it was received, and no answer. And I'm like, what if he never answers?
I mean, after I saw you get hauled off, I figured there was nothing I could do. I went back into the party, and I wound up getting myself in a few situations, and I passed out somewhere. But I saw him in the morning, and I came and got you.
You did come and get me, and you were a godsend at that point.
I mean, I got to sleep too, man.
I saw your messages when I woke up at noon.
Yeah,
We figured.
thanks.
I mean, honestly, we figured you were gonna have trouble getting in your hotel room anyway. The police were nice enough to give you a warm bed to sleep in for the night.
A warm bed. Yeah, it's
Cell
far
bed.
from.
3 hots and a cot, we
Yeah,
figured.
with Julio Alvarez, who was for Grand Theft Auto, is telling me how he
We
was
figured
stealing.
if you have to deal with Steve Payne, you could deal with that guy.
It's kind of the same personality, actually, but
So we get you out. We go to Bob Evans and we have a nice breakfast and you
We
head
do.
up.
Well, this Wii
We
stuff
do.
is more like Thor, and I was still asleep, I think.
right.
Yeah. Well, there's multiple.
Yeah, I was definitely at Bob
There's
Evans.
multiple people there. You were sleeping. I was up. I was bailing people out of jail.
To say that I was happy to see Thor in that morning is an understatement.
Steve, Guy, Britt Baker. There's a whole crew of people at Bob
Oh
Evans.
yeah, the PB Smooth,
PB Smooth.
I mean, there was
there.
a whole
Fucking
just-
Biggins is
Tom
sleeping.
Greeny.
You missed the whole thing, Biggins.
Yeah.
Tom Green. Oh, I thought Tom Green. I was like the guy with one nut. The bum is on my chair. I thought we had a celebrity.
So off you go into the distance, onto your show to Chicago.
Yeah, everything's not exactly fine. I was arrested and had to spend the night with Julio, but I'm thinking everything's fine. I'm a little tired, a little hungover, whatever. I have to do the show. I have to be there by 5:30. I'm gunning it, doing 95, trying to get back. I finally get back. I'm booked against this guy I do not want to work. He is a known very bad wrestler, and I'm just not happy about it.
Before you get to the bad news, there was a bright side to all this because I did have to help him find his phone that next day,
Yeah.
and then help him get to his car,
It was a whole thing.
which thankfully was not towed.
It wasn't
despite
towed.
being in an illegal parking zone.
Very illegal. And it was there. And
It
we
was-
found the phone, and we finally got it charged, and my life
Yeah.
slowly started coming back
we
together.
thought things were looking up.
Things were looking up.
Oh, it was great. Everything came back.
A true comeback story.
That's
if you will.
right.
So I'm on cloud nine. I make the show on time. I'm working this guy. I get through the match. Everything's fine. I'm watching the main event. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll just I'll duck out early. I'll get my pay and I'll go home, right? Well, that didn't happen. I'm walking up the stairs to the entranceway. Story goes, I fall flat on my face, chip a tooth, and I'm unconscious. From what I've heard, I looked like a fish out of water. I'm trying to gasp for air. I turn blue. They give me CPR and no heartbeat for 7 minutes.
Gringo Loko is dead.
For 7 minutes.
Legally dead for 7
Legally
minutes.
dead.
So the story goes that, mind you, I don't recollect any of this. They come in. I guess they were down the street, thank God. They come in, they do the defibrillator, they shock me once, nothing, shock me twice. The second time I come back.
It's fucking intense.
So weeks later, let me just tell you this real quick. I had this memory of me being restrained somewhere and something was covering my face, but I was completely out of it, thinking I had gotten kidnapped. This is a legit thought that I had because the lady was like, "Stop resisting," and I had something in my throat. It was a whole thing, right?
And you watched a lot of Taken movies. Like
Yeah,
me.
that's right.
All three I've loved.
I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if I was so over the Mexican guys wanted to have me, kidnapped. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Taken, one of the best trilogies in all of movies, by the way.
Right. So I didn't know what was going on, but it ended up being a true story. I was being very belligerent because I didn't know what was going on. I was trying to escape the ambulance.
Oh.
So I found that out later that it wasn't a dream. It actually happened.
Could have been a werewolf, right,
Yeah.
Biggins?
We don't talk about this.
So anyway, next on the story is I wake up, people are crying, doctors are around me, I'm in and out of consciousness, and apparently when I finally come to and I realize what happened, doctor said when they arrived, my heart stopped for 7 minutes, and that I was clinically dead for that
So
amount
it's
of
the
time.
first time that you remember anything in the hospital? Or?
Yeah. I remember watching the main event and then out. And then I'm in a hospital bed. Everybody's crying around me. I got a million
So it
messages.
was like hours later or like
Yeah.
right away at
it
the
was
hospital?
It was the next day. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
you
it
were
was a
probably
long
like in
time.
a coma or something.
Something. I'm
So
just
it was
glad
it was officially a heart attack? Is that
absolutely
what
a
it was?
cardiac arrest, heart attack. Yeah.
Now, I had read something. I know Melanie Cruz and a couple other people that were at the show. They had wrote something about a luchador dying and he had no ID, nothing on him. And I'm thinking this is awful. Yeah. Then I find out the next day that it was you, and I go, holy shit.
Yeah. That was
it
another
really hit
thing.
home at that point.
That was another thing because my wallet was in the car at the show in Chicago, and nobody knew my real name at the show, not even the promoter. They all have me as Gringo in their phone. So the ambulance people are like, "Do you have his name? Do you know where we can find out where he lives? Do we have
looking
anybody
for
that?"
Gringo Loko in the phone book.
Lo and behold, the only person that saves the day once again is DJZ. And they hit up DJZ. Hey, do you know who he lives with, where he lives, what the deal is? And he got them the information, and they found me somehow, and they alerted
That's nuts.
people. Yeah. So he had a part of saving Gringo Loko. In a way.
I don't want to ruin the mood right now, but I just want to say that I got eyes on Laredo Kid right now, and I'm watching him plot his escape.
He's leaving right now.
There he goes.
There's the Wander right there. He's
There
gone.
he goes. Oh, there he goes.
Got to charge the phone first and then Wander.
He's plugging his phone in, and he just walked by a Jesus statue, and out the door he goes.
Yep, look, gone. I love that guy.
Little Caesar's aware that he's coming. Should we call ahead?
He's the best.
Disappeared.
There he goes.
Gone.
All right. So, wow, yeah,
It was a wild ride. Seriously, I'm just really happy to be here, guys. I appreciate you having me again, and the support that I got specifically from the Cleveland area fans and friends and just everybody has been overwhelming. I woke up and I was just like, wow, people actually do care.
So what was kind of your recovery time? How long were you even in the hospital after something like that?
A total of 6 days. And, gotta definitely throw this in here. So it was kind of a primarily Hispanic hospital because it's in Berwyn, Illinois, where it's predominantly Hispanic. And I was still myself, but completely out of it. So they make you do laps and walk around just because you're not in the bed. So me being me, I left the robe open in the back so that my...
somebody posted that on Facebook.
But I was still myself, which was great. So I still had my personality. So all the nurses was like, "Oh my God, his butt is out," and it was funny for them.
Totally off topic. Berwyn, Illinois, home of Ronnie Lotz's Cigars and Stripes.
Oh yes, we know that place very well, don't we? What a place!
Shout out to Dave Brazak, his favorite spot, and Robles.
So it's been what, 2-3 months since then? This was what, November?
November
right?
28th, I believe. Yeah, it was right after Thanksgiving.
So did the doctor say what brought this on? Was it like a freak accident?
Right.
I mean, I was kind of... So they're still scratching their head. I'm supposed to find out in March exactly what happened, but they don't have a specific answer. I told him my lifestyle, and he said that it could have had something to do with it, but they don't know.
But there's no defect or anything, and they don't think that,
Everything came back clean. I mean, I went
good.
into some of these hospital rooms with big heart machines, and it was kind of a scary situation, and they really didn't know until they knew after 6 days that, like, the heart had a normal rhythm, and it was a lot of testing, but, no blood clots, nothing. Everything's fine. That's why I decided to come.
Now, the big story that everybody was posting, like, in the days afterwards was that to stay awake, you were pounding energy drinks and pre-workout. Like, did that have any effect? Or?
You mean before it happened?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I was kind of known to kind of overdo that type of thing, supplements.
Do you think you think it just pushed too hard one day?
Maybe. I mean, it's a possibility, but he didn't.
Just like stacking everything?
I wouldn't stack that. I mean, it wouldn't be stacking. It would just be one right after the other, just to kind of stay awake and just do everything that I need to do in my life, But that lifestyle has drastically
alert,
changed. Yeah.
And especially with how much traveling wrestlers do,
Right.
and how much energy drinks are consumed by wrestlers.
of course.
Like, you think there would be more issues.
Yeah, apparently I had the most major issue of them all, so I cut that out completely. So,
Well, we are glad that you're back, but this is not the first time that Gringo Loko has had an issue at AIW. It was your introduction, really, to AIW was another special moment for you that we feared for your health.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, do you remember the moment?
I do.
Moment? Do you remember the rest of the match?
I do. I do.
If you've watched the AIW, this was what? This was what show? Do you
Girls'
remember?
Night Out.
Girls' Night Out.
Mhm.
Oh, this is the debut match.
Right. The
You're-
debut.
This is when you lost your first life, I feel.
Yeah, that's right. This was life number 1 gone. Bad omen coming to Cleveland, but we're happy. We're always happy to have you.
And I will continue to return, man.
So you're in the match. DJ Z brings you in. He is selling you guys. Right, I mean, Biggins the Thorn. You guys could talk to. Like, what did you guys know about him coming in?
We knew nothing. DJ Z had just said he's always been a guy that's like, you need to book this guy. You need to book this guy. I mean, that's how we wound up, booking Tyler Black. Was
Fucking Manny.
Yeah, okay, Manny. But somebody bought his debt, so I can't be that mad at Manny
Can't be
anymore.
that mad at what's his name, Callisto.
Yeah, you can't be that mad at somebody's purchased his debt, so his debt's clean with
I
us.
still got bitter feelings towards Manny.
Surprise.
But he's always been a guy, and he's like, you got to check these guys out. You got to check these guys out. And, there's a whole crew of them, and, it turns out that Gringo was the only one that, really sees the opportunity. But at
The other ones apparently do not want to travel in a car.
Yeah,
they just want to go down to the flea market.
yeah, or they just want to wrestle it locally. But we put you guys on a Girls' Night Out show because that was really the only thing that we had space on to do something like this. To just bring in virtually all these all these unknown guys, and so you guys come in and you guys are doing great, and then all of a sudden, Gringo Loko. Honestly, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because I feel like that moment where you almost die really made you in Cleveland because you come back to life within minutes.
We all thought you were dead, literally.
I knew coming in the hype that DJZ had made for us, and I knew the opportunity that it was, and I was not going to take it for granted, so we wanted to go as hard as we could. And I knew going in, passing through those curtains for the first time, I was like, you cannot fuck this up. So don't. Do not do anything out of the ordinary. And lo and behold, lights out.
Walk us through, what was the move supposed to be?
It was supposed to be a step on the second rope, flip senton onto Bandolero and DJZ. I've done it a million times.
Yeah.
Just not in
Not
Cleveland,
on this
Ohio.
day. What did it turn out to be?
It turned out to be lights out for about a good 30
I
seconds.
think you hit the second rope.
I did. Well, it slipped off. And then
And
the rest of the body hit the top rope, which
Right, and
then
then flipped
forced
over
my neck into the
into the
apron.
apron.
And somehow never left the ring. I still watched that
No,
video.
you stayed in the ring the entire time.
I don't know how that's even possible. But thank God for all the lucha practices and the lucha, the neck workouts that we've done over the years. I think that might have had something to do with me being okay.
Well, speaking of that, let's kind of backtrack before you come to AIW and you locate yourself in Chicago and you work the local Chicago independents and meet DJZ and things like that. You went to Mexico and you wrestled extensively in Mexico, and I feel like a lot of people don't know your history. So let's kind of dive into that. How did you find yourself in Mexico? What led you down that road? And let's just tell your story. We got some time.
The legend of Gringo Loko.
Yeah, I mean, people.
Yeah.
These are the things people don't know.
Yeah. Mexico City and Guadalajara was a very fun time in my life. How did I find myself in Mexico? I just bought the ticket and went and never came back. That's the story.
Like, had you been trained previously?
I had been, yeah. So I started primarily in Lucha Libre before anything American even came into my life. I was fascinated by the style, fascinated by the right side of things, and I just liked the acrobatics of it, man. And I'm like, all
Do you
the
think
promoters.
like the WCW luchadors had something to do with
I
that?
would say so, absolutely. I mean, seeing those guys work, talk about inspiration,
Yeah, because you don't hear a lot of white dudes from Chicago that are just like, I want to be a luchador. I don't want to be a wrestler.
And I used to have braids, so you throw that into the mix, and it's a whole look.
Now,
But,
did you train at because I know that there's a large Hispanic population in the Chicago area. Did you find a luchador there to train you?
Oh yeah, I mean that's where I started. There was a couple gyms, and you would just float from each one. But those were the guys that really gave me the inspiration to even go down there. Like, dude, we think you're kind of good enough to go down if you want to try. I was still in high school, so I had to do that first and graduate. And I told Mom, I'm like, hey, I got my money for my ticket. I'm leaving. I'll see you when I see you. I had no
could
reason.
go to college, but I'm going to Mexico.
Right,
Yeah, going to Mexico City
to follow a dream.
Well, he clearly got better advice than young John Thorne did at 15 or 16.
I got a rub and tug at 15.
Jesus. Oh wow.
But yeah, so you go to Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah. And I start with the biggest company that's down there. I got thrown in. There was a guy called Tarzan Boy. And he's kind of a big deal, and he's like, "Hey, man,
now what company is this?
CMLL."
CMLL.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean the top deal, Arena Mexico. Like this, we're here, and I
Did you
Been around
believe
for
it.
like 90 years at this point.
couldn't believe it. I'm in their gym working out with the top stars, and it
now
makes
did
no
you
sense.
did you have to try out for them, or did somebody kind of set you up, or did you just kind of show up?
I just kind of showed up with him, obviously, and that was my way in. And I'm training with like Ultimo Guerrero and El Hijo de Santo, and like all these top names, and I'm just looking around like, how did this even happen to me? Vigorous training.
18
man.
years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
17, 18 years old. Extensive training. I mean, they really run you through the ringer to make sure that you're even good enough to get in the ring for a show before you even do it, So I really respect myself for going through that and getting through it.
Now, as like we said, like you're Caucasian. Did you have the reverse racism of going to Mexico and getting treated
I don't know
bad,
if it was
or-
racism, but there was definitely like, who the hell is this? And at that time, I didn't know really any Spanish, so it was a little difficult.
Did they think you didn't know their style? Or,
They did.
you
Yeah,
know,
they looked at me
You're
like,
just like an American coming down.
right. And then once we started, mixing up, they're like, oh, he actually knows what's going on.
What was the initial name that they gave you down there? Has it
So,
always been Gringo Loko?
I've always
Probably not.
had a fondness for Arthur Barr, so I went down trying to get maybe a Love Machine 2 or a Gringo Loko 2 gimmick, anything to do with him, but they were trying to throw me under the name of like Chicago Fire. And I'm like, I don't.
They didn't have a Beetlejuice gimmick for you down there?
They didn't, man. They wanted to throw flames on my tights. I'm like, it's just not me. So we need to figure this out. So I went from arena to arena, and I ended up at a place called Nocaupan, and they were like, yeah, Gringo Loko's fine. You look just like the guy. Just get the American stuff, and we'll run with you. Let's do it. And that was 2.5 years. It was probably the best experience of my life. We had a trio called Gringo's VIP, champions, the whole thing. It was phenomenal. It was fun.
What are some of the craziest stories you have?
Because I mean, you hear a lot about how chaotic Mexico is, and how just like insane things happen down there. I mean, and with as we talked, your lifestyle as you worded it,
especially.
What kind of trouble was Gringo Loko getting into at 18 years old in Mexico?
Where do I start?
Because you're a rarity, right? So I mean, the ladies are eyeballing you.
If you have colored eyes in Mexico, you are a king. That's all I have to say.
I got blue eyes. I might need to go south.
You might want to. Let's take a trip, man. The first thing that comes to my mind, think about crazy. This was probably one of the scariest. Now that I look at it, funniest stories that I have. So I was dating this girl that had a very high-ranking father in Lucha Libre, and a very well-respected guy, no nonsense. You got to be on your P's and Q's, right? So,
how would you when you say high-ranking for our listeners? You compared him to somebody in America.
Seriously, probably Ric Flair or Hogan.
Wow.
I will never mention his name because I do not want this to come back to me.
Okay.
We all know you're talking about John Strongman or the Shocker.
Right, exactly.
Okay. But before you continue, Biggins is obsessed with that Lucha Mexico documentary.
Did you like that?
Love it.
It was great, right?
Oh,
it's nice.
For seriously 3 months, he was really trying to sell me on booking Shocker because he loved Shocker's boner tattoo from Growing Pain.
Oh, that's the least of Shocker. I want to come up here and whip up some real tacos for me.
Yeah, Shocker's great, by the way.
And John the Strongman, who says he's done so many illicit substances that he just knows he's going to die.
Yeah, he looks huge.
He looks natural to me.
I saw that guy.
Natural like atomic.
I saw that guy warming up before Lucha Expo. I mean, Jesus Christ, can your arms get any bigger? I mean, he's like, "What's up, brother?" He's got that voice.
All right, so back to this fun story. You are dating the daughter of what is essentially the Lucha version of Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair.
Yeah. And he is touring somewhere. I don't know if it's Japan or Europe, whatever. He's not home, okay? So I casually go over to visit. Everything's fine until the door opens, and he decides to come home early from the tour. And me and her look at each other. We're like, holy shit, this is going to be bad. What are we going to do? First thought.
Where are you when he comes home?
Oh, I'm in his house upstairs.
In her room?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And this is bad, and I know it's going to be bad because
this is like a Penthouse Forum letter or like a porn I've watched.
You watch porn?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. It's against my religious beliefs.
And first thought, I
read
need
the synopsis on the back of the box though.
First thought is I need to get into a closet right now because this is very scary because this is big.
Did you think that you could have potentially died at that point?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Did you think you could make like a 75-part rap song about being trapped in a closet?
It's more
R.
of like
Kelly's
an
cousin.
R&B.
Yeah.
So I get into the closet, right? Now, she's on this. It's a three-story house, right? So I'm on the second floor. I know the third story is impossible to jump from, but I'm like, maybe if I can get to the balcony on the second floor, I'll be fine. Maybe I'll just slide down or
Lucha
something.
training to use.
Right. I could do a
tuck and roll.
Three-quarter roll from the balcony, right? But so like he's downstairs. You can hear him. He's got this deep voice. And I was like, all right, keep a lookout. I'm going to go tiptoe to the balcony to see if I can make this jump. Why? Because I'm either going to get my face bashed in and worry about dental bills for the next 5 to 10 years.
What's a dentist like in Mexico, south of the border?
I couldn't tell you. I've never gone.
He never went.
That's where Robles goes. He says it's cheaper because there's no insurance down there.
Oh yeah, Robles does get all his medical work done south of the border.
I feel like Robles is always down there for something.
That's where he goes for any medical condition he has. He says it's cheaper than America.
So make it to the balcony.
I make it to the balcony. I clearly see this is not going to happen. It's either going to be broken legs or broken teeth. And I start to freak out, okay?
And you couldn't get like bed sheets to do like the tie down?
Biggins, when I tell you I thought of that, it was an idea, okay? I swear to God. But she didn't have enough sheets. So I have to stay in this closet, I'm not kidding, for 6 hours while she brought me food. and we had to wait for this guy to come up all the way up to the 3rd floor, past me essentially, and go to sleep. And it was one of the most craziest 30 seconds of my life, trying to tiptoe past his room and go all the way, downstairs and leave this property.
I had a similar situation happen to me, but there was no Mexican wrestling superstar there. It was just
A little less exciting.
girl I was dating, mom. She didn't know that I was secretly living at their house the entire summer. So sometimes I just had to sit in a closet for hours.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't know if this is too personal, Thorne, but there is a story about how you were punished one time and you had to do relations with a woman through a window.
I mean, I wasn't punished. She was grounded.
Okay. Oh, so it was her house and you did.
She was grounded, and she wasn't allowed out. I was a teenager. So I knocked on her window, and I stood on like a little kid's like power wheel thing, and I got myself evened up with the window, and she satisfied me through her window. She was inside and I was outside.
I couldn't remember who was undergrounded, but
Wow.
I don't know where that came from, Biggins. We're talking about hiding in closets.
because it's like it's a secret behavior.
Secret behavior.
Wow.
You're really exposing all my secrets on here.
That's because you keep bringing up this werewolf thing I don't know anything about.
Oh, the werewolf story will be told.
So that's at least a fun dating story.
It's-
And
yeah.
what other chaos? Anything else chaotic that you can think back to? Or
You want more death stories? Because I have those.
Well, we want more Mexico stories.
Yeah.
What we
Yeah.
think
I
we
mean,
want.
or death. Like death and Mexico go hand in hand.
Ain't that the truth?
Gringo Muerto.
First day upon arriving, Tarzan Boy's like, yeah, you got nothing to worry about. The next red light we get to, there's a, what do we call him now? Transgender, really tall she-male that's chasing a very drunk guy with a high heel, saying in Spanish, I'm going to get you, mother effer, because you forgot to pay. And then he proceeds to fall on the hood of the car, and then I look at him, I was like, are you sure I'm not supposed to be scared right now? You know what I mean?
This sounds like your kind of place, man.
Yeah, this is like the synopsis you read on back of one of those DVDs.
That could have just been like the werewolf, actually.
No, not at all. Werewolf. I don't talk about this.
So that story was my introduction to Mexico, and then from then I was just scared beyond belief. But
Now, at any point as an American, were you scared at all for your life? Because I know they say a lot of places you can't go, or you'll just be kidnapped.
You're not allowed in if you're American, and
I don't think there's places like that, but I will say I didn't leave my hotel room the first time just because I was just scared as hell because I was in Mexico City alone with no friends besides Tarzan Boy, and if he wasn't available, I'm staying at my hotel. But I think a lot of it is media-based, really, though. The fear and all that's up here in the States, don't go to Mexico because you'll die.
Now, how long did you end up staying down there?
A total of 4 years, back and forth, yeah.
Gringo Loko has a hell of a story this week. But you know who else has a hell of a story? The dog-faced gremlin himself, Rick Steiner. Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. That's right, the Steiner brothers. Our sponsor, Thrift Store Jobber. That's right, on Instagram, Thrift Store Jobber. On eBay, Thrift Store Jobber. This is a man that makes my flea market look inferior. thriftstoreJobber.bigcartel.com. Their item of the week this week, a Steiner Brothers jacket. That's right, official WCW licensed, made by Chalkline. This is a near mint size large jacket, made in 1990. $150. If I could fit a size large, I'd buy this bad boy in a second and walk down the streets of Michigan. But I can't. So check out thriftstoreJobber.bigcartel.com. Thanks.
So then you come back to the States.
Yeah.
At what point, where's our timeline? What year is this you're back in the States then?
Oh, God. I took a long break when I came back because I was done with the wrestling business, as we all go through.
Done with
I
so
was
you
done.
went down to Mexico, always wanted to be a luchador, And then you came back. You're like, I'm done with the
Well, I
wrestling.
mean, after all the time, after the Ric Flair of Mexico is almost murdering you, I think that really would.
I needed to kind of disappear into the darkness for a little bit after that one, but
Did you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish?
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we had done what we set out to do, our trio thing, and we were going to work a lot of the same guys, and I had done what I wanted to do. I fulfilled my dream in Mexico.
So when do you come back, and when do you meet up with DJZ, and what kind of leads to this kind of resurgence of your career?
Again, DJZ here comes to save the day. We work a random Mexican restaurant festival, and me and him had kind of chit-chatted, but we had never worked, and I had remembered after we worked how good he is. And I said, oh, man, I remember what it was like to work really good people. And we started hitting it off right away. And he's like, dude, you should come to train, man. Let's go train wherever we can. Let's go find Lucha Libre gyms. Let's go to gymnastic places. Let's just do this. And, I mean, it's been 2 years now, and he really did rediscover Gringo Loko because I was done.
How long was your time off?
About 2.5 years.
Okay.
Without anything physical, wrestling-wise at all. And he brought me straight back, and he said, listen, I got opportunities for you if you're patient with me. And then Cleveland got brought up, and then we got Cleveland, and then it just kind of snowballed after that. And then the heart attack happened, and now we're at a pause.
Well, now that's what I was going to say. Now you've been wrestling for AIW for coming up on a year now almost.
Has it been a year?
And you've almost died twice when you've been near or around us. What does the future hold for Gringo Loko at this point? Like, what do you have any goals, aspirations, or are you just gonna, just winging it?
Just winging it, no. I just want to continue killing it with Pain, man. I love Pain. T-Pain's my guy. I want to continue giving the fans the best of my ability to Pain's ability and just keep killing it, man. I mean, I really just want to make sure you guys are happy as well.
Oh, we're happy.
The opportunity you guys have given us, me personally, I mean, it's the greatest that I've ever had in my career, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't mean to put you guys super over, but you guys are awesome.
I love it when people put me over.
Seriously, man. Every time I drive to Cleveland, I just get the butterflies. Like, man, I love all those guys.
And we get along well because we don't have any daughters.
No daughters here. Let's hope this is the last time you almost die until you're old.
Yeah.
I mean, I can officially say nobody goes as hard as me because I died for it. So
you did die for it.
There you go.
I was going to say, of all the people here, you really do know what 7 minutes in heaven is.
Seriously.
That's such a bad joke.
Yeah, that's quite the assumption as well. After the lifestyle we just heard him talk about.
No, he said he died for 7 minutes. He spends a lot of time in closets. I mean, I get where Biggins was going, but
right. Oh, yeah.
Really in poor taste.
Hey, man, I'm a big Teen Wolf fan.
As am I.
There's that werewolf again.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking lock you in a closet, Steve guy.
Jesus.
Here we go. Biggin's getting hot again.
I keep a knife near my bed.
You better wrap it up.
All right, so that's going to do it for us here on AIW's The Card is Going to Change. We once again want to thank Gringo Loko for joining us. We wish you the best in life, in health, in wrestling, anything we possibly can.
Any final words you want to say to,
for the show, not
the world? Yeah, not for your life.
Yeah. A specific thank you to the fans of Cleveland, especially you guys. You guys reached out as soon as you heard what happened, and the overwhelming support. I will never forget waking up to all those messages, specifically from the people from Cleveland, man. I really appreciate it, and I just want to keep killing it, man. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Steve Guy, I'll let you say your stuff, but thanks.
Oh, you're just getting another way now.
Wow. Well, once again, thanks to our sponsors who make all this possible. Smart Mark Video, Angelo's Pizza. We have Thrift Store Jobber now, Tide Treatment Center, and, of course, Jack Prince. On behalf of John Thorne and Chandler Biggins, my name's Steve Guy. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks.
You already fucking said that, man.
You know.
Yeah, I know you said it.
Doot.
Jesus Christ.